We live? It's only let me know if we're live. I just tried to go live and YouTube wasn't letting me. So I'm going to start chatting. I'm going to start talking. If I'm live, cool. If not, I guess I'm just going to talk to an empty room because that's what I do now. But let me know for sure if everything's good on your guys' end. But hi, welcome back to United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are here to discuss what we just saw. Are we good? Is the stream going? Because Liverpool, YouTube is doing a madness at the moment. I'm not sure what's going on. So, Danny, I see you're in the chat, man. If it's good on your end, let me know. But in any case, I'll try again. This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are here to talk about that shit show that we just watched for 2 hours as United lose 3-0 to Liverpool at Old Trafford, third match of the season going into this first international break. It was a pile of shit. I mean, there's no other words to describe it. So we'll do our best to get through this. Welcome everybody to the chat today already. Danny, Mustafa, thanks, man. I said in the preview that we were too sloppy against Brighton and we could not afford to do that against Liverpool. And we saw more of it. We were worse against Liverpool than we were against Brighton. That probably had more to do with the fact that Liverpool were better than Brighton. They have better players. They're a better side. But it was more of the same that we just saw. In fact, again, I think as far as what we did on and off the ball individually, it just was worse. It was like we just didn't even try. We didn't train. We didn't address anything from the Brighton match. And it just, it was a shit show. Aside from literally the first 2 or 3 minutes of the match, we couldn't move the ball. We barely got it out of our own half. We were sloppy. We couldn't string 2 passes together. It just fell apart so quickly after. There were honestly, the first few minutes, I was like, okay, I feel good. This is good. But it was just embarrassing. So we're going to get stuck in on all the, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's keep moving. Obviously, tomorrow when I come back and do my 3 thoughts, my 3 takeaways, it'll go a little bit more in depth, a little bit more focused, and a little bit more thorough. But today we're here to do our initial reaction. So get your thoughts in on what you thought. Let me see what you guys are saying. Danny says, really disappointed, but expected this result. I knew Casemiro was a liability in the first few minutes. You were right, Sean. Not having Ugarte in early cost us points. Simply not good enough. Yeah, I think, again, and I'm not going to sit here and say Ugarte would have been the difference maker, but I think that compared to what we saw from Casemiro today, it's hard to imagine anybody doing worse. I think Casemiro I literally don't know what is going on. It was literally like he was towards the end of last season. I don't understand. Someone's got to help me. I have a master's in psychology, and there's not any way, shape, or form I could even begin to try to figure out what's going on in Casemiro's head right now. It was messed up. Big up, Nick. Welcome back, bud. Danny says, Rashford and Bruno will get Erik ten Hag sacked. You can't build a team around them. See, Rashford, I can start to believe. I think if it's so, I go back and forth on this because it's like under different managers, Rashford looks good. In Ten Hag's first season, Rashford was nearly perfect. But that's because Rashford is only really good in a counterattacking system. Now that we've in Ten Hag's third year and he's got players and we're trying to implement his system, Rashford just doesn't work. Now, I don't know if that's because he's bad. I don't think he's got enough football intelligence to get more tactical, but Rashford's not bad. We know he's not bad. He's nowhere near world class, and he's probably never going to be. But it's a question, do you persist with the manager? Do you kind of make these players play poorly? Bruno is the same. I don't think Bruno suits this system. Bruno is capable of so many magical things as a player. We've seen it time and time again. He's led this league in chances created time and time again. But he's another player who I just don't think fits this system. Bruno and Rashford look great in a counterattacking system. I just don't know if it's going to work. And that doesn't mean think we need to sell them. Again, it's that, what do? Do you bring in a manager who's going to get the best out of players like that? Or do you get rid of them and bring in more players for this manager to fit that system when it's clearly not suiting those players that were already here? This is why I don't envy owners. I don't envy managers. I don't envy directors of football, any of this, because these are hard decisions. Mustafa says, I say it 2 days ago, this idiot coach need to be sacked, but you'd think that I don't see well what happened today with the idiot lineup. I mean, the lineup itself wasn't bad, was it? I mean, it's kind of like what we wanted to see, apart from Rashford, really. I think we all would have preferred to see Garnacho on the left, Ahmad on the right, and Rashford on the bench. But we wanted De Ligt. He started De Ligt. We wanted Zirkzee. He started Zirkzee. And I think that based on what we saw from Casemiro at the start of the season, none of us really would have expected such a dramatic drop-off just 3 matches in. But some of those things you can plan for and some of those things you can't. But it was almost, as far as midfield goes, what are you going to do? The only options were Manu, Casemiro, and Eriksen and Collier. That was it. Like, Mount's injured, McTominay's gone, Ugarte is not in the squad yet because reasons, as Danny said, and like I've said, we didn't move fast enough to get him in. So midfield basically picked itself, and then it was just a matter of, hey, maybe I'll start Garnacho today and not start Ahmad and see how that goes. And that's just what it is. We went from thinking we had really good depth all of a sudden we were like, wait a second, we actually don't have as good depth as we thought we did, when our backups for midfield are Eriksen and a teenager who's never not played a game of first team football, really. So it's amazing just when you take a step back and think about it, you're like, oh, wait a second. Okay, now, yeah, we're fucked. Okay, awesome. Now I just want to make sure we're all on the same page there. Danny says, can you picture if Mazraoui or Manu get injured for an extended amount of time? We'll be lucky to finish top half of the table. Erik ten Hag has to bin this 3-1, 4-1-1 he is exposing. Yeah, Manu is not, and we've talked about that earlier in a couple of videos. Manu in this system is just getting it left. He's being hung out to dry, basically. Casemiro's dropping back to split between the defenders, when really, is Casemiro the guy you want on the ball at the edge of your own box when we're building up from the attack? No, he's not a Frankie de Jong. He's not even a Mason Mount in that regard. Like, he's not the guy. We wanted de Jong. We didn't get de Jong. We got Casemiro, but Casemiro is not that guy who's going to start the attack. We really could have used a João Neves in that position, but we don't want to go on and on about that because it'll just make me mad. Probably be a Sean-shaped hole in this window. So, yeah, same setup as we did yesterday. I was just too lazy to switch things up yet. I had a lot going on. I got to go do some stuff after this, but let me get some of mine here. So I've said before that Erik ten Hag is going to have very few excuses now that he's in his third season. He's getting his players in. But for a back line consisting of 4 of ten Hag's signings, basically 4 of his targets, it was shit. Onana, I'm sorry. Let me take a breath here, because I'm trying to be too harsh. I'm not trying to be like too just catastrophizing. I'm not trying to just be very black or white, but I'm going to say it right now, and you can clip me up. Onana's not, he ain't it. Onana ain't it. I'm sorry. I'm not blaming him particularly for anything, and I think he is decent on the ball, but as far as he's not a convincing shot stopper at all. When it comes to stopping shots, to making saves, to like commanding your area, he is not it. And it's going to be a big problem for us. The most important thing you need to do as a keeper, in my opinion, is just make saves. And he's just not good enough. He doesn't get down quick enough. Like that second goal, he should have gotten down to that much quicker. That cross, that just was a simple cross to the back post. He needs to be aware of that, because we just conceded that same exact goal against Brighton. You've got 3 defenders over here. You as a keeper can stay a little more centrally and just kind of watch where that goes. He doesn't come and claim crosses. He doesn't do any of that. He's too big. He's too stiff. He's not quick enough. He doesn't command his area, and he's not good at shot stopping. And it's starting to really frustrate me because it's going to cost us points. He needs to be more aware of those crosses, like I said. I thought Licho was actually pretty poor today, nowhere near his standards, maybe if that's a better way to put it. He didn't win a single tackle, Lissandro. He was dribbled past twice. De Ligt and Mazraoui, as you were saying, Danny, like if we lose Mazraoui, we're screwed. But I thought De Ligt and Mazraoui, they had really good moments. I think moments that come because they're class defenders, right? They're just good. But like, I thought they were just both kind of caught out of position too much. I think that having to compensate for some of the deficiencies of some of our other poor players left both of them a little exposed. And I think that both of them in a few key moments were just kind of switched off as well. It was not great. Mazraoui did win the most duels in the match. He won 13 duels. So Mazraoui, took a note early on, like in the first half, was like, all my notes said was, how good is Mazraoui? Like, what a signing. He's very, very good. But again, like I've spoken about a few times now, and I can't remember which book. I'll find it one day and remember it. That that concept called the O principle. When you've got players like Casemiro, players who like Manu, who aren't bad but are made to look bad because they're having to fill in and they're being played in the wrong position, basically. A player's deficiencies are multiplied. They're not simply added. So when Casemiro's deficiencies in the way he's playing on a given day spread out like ripples in a pond, it affects all of his teammates. And so Mazraoui's got to compensate. Garnacho's got to compensate. Bruno's got to compensate, which then pulls all of these players out of position as well. It snowballs from there. And that's the problem when you've got a single player in a very system-oriented philosophy like Tenhag's, when it's like the parts of a car, the parts of a computer, like every other part besides one can be working, but if that one part's not working, it doesn't matter. The computer's not going to work. So it's very, very hard. Where in the hell was everybody when that ball was crossed to the back post for their goal, by the way? Again, literally the same shit that happened against Brighton. 3 defenders going towards the ball at one side, 2 Liverpool attackers unmarked at the back post, and it's just like the most simple shit you could ever see in your life. All right, let me jump in this chat and see what we got going on. I don't want to play catch up here all day. So yeah, Danny, don't put that evil out there in the universe talking about Mazraoui and Manu getting injured, man. We can't have that bad juju. Danny says these high fullbacks has to stop. Yeah, and that's the problem with fullback. Dalot, like, and I said this, like, we're going to get caught out of position by trying to get sucked into this possession. And Dalot, for that chance they had late in the second half, like, Dalot wasn't even on the screen when Salah picked up that ball. I'm like, where are you, man? Like, come on. Not having a natural left back is killing us. You know who I was reminded of today? I was watching the match earlier is Udogie. I did a scouting report on Udogie a long time ago when he was still on loan. I really like Udogie. He's another one that I forgot about. Danny says, we needed more than Ugarte in mid. We always said we needed 2 regardless of Mixoff left. Yeah, and we didn't. Rabiot's still chilling. I'm just saying Rabiot is still chilling. If Manu is tired or needs to rotate, who are you going to rather want to bring on? Eriksen or Rabiot? It's not a difficult choice to make. If we terminate Eriksen's contract now, he was free, we could just get his wages off the books, bring in Rabiot, who is literally Champions League level. He really good France player. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's a no-brainer to me. I know some people are like, his attitude. That was like 4 years ago. I think we need to move on from some of that stuff. Nick Fadley says Amorim in. If you wanna get Amorim in, and I talked about this in my Ruben Amorim video several months ago. If you get Ruben Amorim in, you have to completely start another rebuild, because he plays a completely different system than we've ever seen at United. He plays that 3-4-3, that 3-4-1-2 system, and you're gonna have, and he needs certain type of players for that system. So you're gonna have to kind of rip it all up and start over again, because that system, the midfielders and the fullbacks or the wingbacks are going to be very, very key. And we don't have midfielders who can play on and off the ball right now. And so that system is very, very tough to transition to, especially for these players. So I hear you. Like, Amorim, I'm surprised he didn't leave Sporting, honestly. But it's a whole new, you're going to have all new players. We can't do another rebuild. It's really, really hard. We have to start thinking long-term in terms of maybe not thinking so much about replacing players to suit every manager that we bring in, but like, what is the overall way we want to play? And this is what Liverpool did with Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp was a Moneyball signing. Liverpool had a way that they wanted to start playing, and Jurgen Klopp was the manager that their data-driven system decided was going to suit that best. This is kind of what I like to see us kind of move towards. I know a lot of people are talking about Ruud. Ruud's a part of this right now. He's new. He's in the coaching staff. He's new, but he has a role in this as well. So let's not pretend that he's not sharing a little bit of the responsibility here. Danny says, Nick, you won a shirt yesterday. Yes, Nick and Danny both won shirts yesterday. You need to get me your deets. Hit me up at United States of United, all one word, at gmail.com. Let me know your mailing address. I'm not going to give anybody. I'm not going to order pizzas or anything. I'm just going to send you your shirt. So let me know. I'll do what I can to get that in the mail this week. Gonna be busy tomorrow. Tomorrow's a holiday, so no mail anyway, but we'll see how it goes. Justin, welcome back, bud. Need another DM and attacking midfielder. They kept getting us on the engine room downright, spanked us. Yeah, that midfield again, I don't know. It's like we lose one player and the whole thing falls apart. because that same hole that we saw in midfield last season, we saw again today, and which is why Manu and Casemiro were getting caught out, because they had no one around them who was coming back to receive a pass or anything, and they're all alone. They're getting swarmed by players, losing possession, allowing Liverpool to get counterattack after counterattack. And it doesn't help that Liverpool were already so well drilled in that pressing system when Arne Slot came in, because they've been doing it for 8 years under Klopp. So they're already just used to doing that, where we've had to basically train all these new players while trying to get rid of old players. And so I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying you can see what happens when you stick with a manager, when you get a good system in, when these players kind of get in tune with what is needed from them. Nick says, Danny, did I miss something? Yes, you did miss something, Nick. You won a shirt yesterday in the show we did. We did the giveaway winner announcements. So you were one of the recipients. I said I'm going into the show I was going to do one. I ended up doing two. So you and Danny both won. They are random, guys. I'm not picking favorites, but the best way to get your chances if you want to get entered in some of these giveaways in the future is just to get involved in the channel and, you know, engage and leave comments. Get involved in the chat, all that kind of stuff. Nick, so I want to hear. Yeah, I said it yesterday, bud. You were on the channel. I know I saw you yesterday, but so I thought maybe you'd seen it. But yeah, you did win. So Rajat says Collier did okay. Manu did crap. Manu has not looked his best, and I can't tell if he's just tired or if he's tired because of where he's being asked to play and what he's being asked to do. It could be a combination of both. But we don't have rotation options. Eriksen is our rotation. Our Mount is injured. Scott McTominay is gone. Casemiro is shit. Ugarte is not registered in time. Literally everything just lined up to make this perfect storm of a shit show. So Raja says midfield was overrun. Liverpool dominated. Yeah, it didn't. Liverpool literally got from their box to ours with like one, maybe two passes just straight through, because that's just how easy it was. Mustafa says Erik ten Hag has no patience to play. So you mean no patent to play for our club? Please, you people that are close to the management board, advise them to sack. Nobody here is close to the management to advise them to sack this coach this night, because he won't have anything to offer to the team. We're going to talk a little bit about Ten Hag today. I'm going to talk a little bit more tomorrow, but he's on some very thin ice. I said yesterday that he is going to have very little excuses this season because he's getting his players. He's had time. He was given a new contract. Today was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Liverpool didn't even have to try. Like in the second half, they literally just looked like they were training. Like they just didn't care. Raja said, "What was wrong with Mizraoui? Did he get concussion? It was an injury." I mean, every time there's a head clash, they're gonna want to make sure that they get it taken care of and get it looked at pretty closely. They came under a lot of scrutiny a few years back when they were kind of not taking concussion protocols seriously. Concussion protocols are a very big deal. Even in youth football, I know, at least in the US, I don't know what it's like in the UK or around the world, but you're not even allowed to start training headers until kids are like 14, 15, 16 years old or so, because of just how malleable and how fragile their skulls and their brains are still. When Justin in the chat, and when he and I used to play, I used to do headers all the time. And there were some days where if I would catch it wrong and I caught it on my temple and not like in my forehead, I would feel it the rest of the day. I would probably have like what you would call like little minor concussion situations where it was very small, but I was dizzy. I would feel like really tired, and it would just feel it. And so and that's just me heading the ball on a regular basis. I can't imagine what it's like to get elbowed or kicked or something. So Raja, bad luck for Xerxes today. Maybe different day. One or two of these chances Xerxes had, he would have scored. Yeah. Yeah, Nick. Yeah, you won, bud. So just give me your details. I'll get them out to you. Raja says, hope next game Ugarte is ready. Steven, welcome to the channel, man. Manu shouldn't be doing 90 minutes. We needed to get Sander Berge to replace McTominay. And I know a lot of people really like Sander Berge. Amrabat, a lot of people wouldn't mind bringing. I know Ward-Prowse. Did Ward-Prowse end up leaving West Ham? He was another option we put out there the other day. Rabiot is still out there for free. Raja says, why Berge is not Man United level? I don't think that Berge is not going to do as much defensively, but I think today, my dog could go out there and play in the 6 instead of Casemiro today, and she would have done a lot better. So let me keep going now that I got caught up in the chat. I'll keep coming back periodically. Like the video, please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's keep going. So again, Mizraoui won some duels. everybody fell asleep for that one Liverpool goal with that little cross to the back post. Literally carbon copy of the one we conceded against Brighton. Just nobody paying attention. Everybody switched off. Every single defender moving towards a play with the ball and leaving two open attackers at the back post. Like, it's schoolboy shit. The same kind of schoolboy stuff we saw all last season in the Champions League. Just the simple cutback goals, edge of the box, nobody marking anybody, everybody getting drawn. It's just, and I feel for Ten Hag in some degree, because at the end of the day, at this level, like, do you even have to address that kind of stuff? You shouldn't have to. These are Champions League winners. These are full internationals. Like, we shouldn't have to be telling players to not swarm one player with the ball on one post and leave two players at the back post. Like, why should a manager at this level have to instruct his players on that? It makes no sense. But moving up to midfield. So again, like we were talking about, we saw the same gaping hole in midfield that cost us a lot last season. Casemiro was atrocious, like disgustingly atrocious. Like, it was a shockingly bad display from him. And it just kept getting worse. It was like, it just exponentially worse. Like, literally just sloppy on the ball, careless passing that just directly led to some goals for Liverpool. And if you watched him, like, he just looked like he completely switched off after that. Like, his body language was off, his face was off. He looked exactly like he did. You guys remember that match against Coventry, the semifinal last year? He looked exactly like that. Just like that blank stare, like he's not even focused. His mind is elsewhere. Like, it's like he just goes someplace else in his mind, and he's just passing the ball to nobody directly out of play. He's passing it right to Liverpool. He was passing everywhere but a teammate. And I don't know how you can be that bad at this level in your career. Danny says, it's down to Onana. He's a bag shit. He should be organizing. Yeah, I don't think Onana organizes his back line very well. And that comes with that goalkeeper trait of just commanding your area. Edwin van der Sar, very, very good at it. David De Gea, not very great at it. Andre Onana, not very great at it. Like, and that was one of my most important things that I've said a long time ago about goalkeepers. I need them to command their area. They need to be able to control, like you're saying, to dictate and organize, and they're not. And Licha does it to a degree, but Licha just had a bad day too by his standard. And so again, like I said, against Brighton, it's one thing if one or two players are just having a bad performance and they're just not playing well, but literally everybody did. It was the same against Brighton. It's just getting worse, and it's eerily reminiscent of Jose's third season. It's eerily reminiscent of Ollie's third season. Like, just the players, just everybody playing this way. And I said in yesterday's video, which I linked in the video description, if you guys want to watch that when we're done here, that doesn't bode well for Ten Hag. Raja says, Man United fans are kind of overreactive. Not to say anybody here overreacts, but for the most part, and fans we do react. We do get in our feelings. That's why we do this video. And then I come back the next day, 24 hours later, to do a 3 thoughts and organize. But that's what the reaction video is. We do react. So we react in this video, and then we respond in the next video. And those are 2 different things: react, respond. And so, yeah, we're going to react today. We're going to be in our feelings. We're going to be frustrated, because that's just what we do. It's part of being a fan. It's part of being a human being. I said, and a lot of people said, that Casemiro looked good in preseason. He looked like he lost some weight. He looked like he was doing well. But I also said that didn't mean that we needed to just start him. It didn't mean we were sticking with him. It didn't mean we didn't need to replace him. And this, again, was just proof. It's like he survived the transfer window because he knew nobody wanted him. And he just, as soon as that deadline hit, he's like, cool, fuck it. I'll just do what I did last season. They don't have a choice anyway. Mount's injured. McTominay's gone. I'm fine. I'm not trying to judge him. I'm just saying that's kind of the vibe I was getting there. And so when Collier came on, though, and he looks exponentially better than Casemiro, it's like, it's time to go to the Saudi League, my guy. When a youngster comes on who's never really played, and in 45 minutes of football looks 10 times better than you in every single metric of the game, time to go. You're done. Like, he's probably like on the phone. When does the Saudi League's transfer window shut? Can we just terminate his contract? It's going to cost us $15 million a year in wages to keep him here. Just let him go. Like, just let him go. Go get Rabiot. Rabiot is way better than Casemiro is now. In any case, though, Collier won all 7 of his ground duels. He won 3 out of 4 of his tackles. He passed well, he dribbled well, he was reading the play. Like there was a time where he got caught on the ball, but again, it's lack of communication when he receives a pass and there's a Liverpool player just on him. And he's young. What are you going to get? I thought Manu was getting caught on the ball a little too often, and he did have a mistake in that sense. Again, the way that he's been asked to play this season, that did lead to another goal because it just led to counterattack after counterattack after counterattack. In fact, if you look at like FootMob, for instance, neither Manu or Casemiro received higher than a 5 rating of 5. Like they were both in like the 4 point, like the high 4s. So Rajat says, going to another thing, why is Maguire still at the team? Because nobody wants to pay him what we pay him every week. He almost went to West Ham a year ago, but he didn't want to take a pay cut because we pay our players too much. Victor Lindelof is on like 120K a week. Anthony's on 200K a week. Like there's a reason Varane went for free and Martial went for free, like because nobody wants to pay them what we pay them, because for the longest time, the only way we could get players in is just to pay them way more than what they really were worth. And this is why PSR is killing us. This is why we have players that Fergie have signed until last season. Like this is why this is happening. Not making excuses. I'm just answering the question. Go get Hermoso. Isn't Hermoso going to the Saudi League? I thought I saw that. And the CM and left back could go get right back to channel. Like it's embarrassing how we just talked yesterday about bringing in 5 first-team players at this level, and we're already talking about having to get more players. Like we can't keep doing that. That's not the way to solve the problem. Spending money is not the way to solve the problem. It's how you spend it, how you prioritize it. If you give a 40-year-old and a 4-year-old $100 to go to the grocery store, who do you think is going to spend that money more wisely? The people who were making those kind of decisions for the last decade just made every wrong decision you can make, and it's led to where we are. Tenhag has a big role to play, though, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. So as far as the attack goes, it was just more wasted chances. I was getting so tired of Graham Lasso twerking for Rashford literally the entire match in commentary. So I was watching it on Peacock. I don't know how you watch it, but it was literally just, I thought Rashford looked really good. He's energetic. He's light on his feet. I'm like, do you know are you watching? Do you know which player is a Rashford, Graham? Because the Rashford I'm watching right now is looking like the same old Rashford. He, again, had the fewest touches of any outfield player, poor pass completion, only completed 2 out of 5 of his dribbles, only completed half of his crosses. To be fair to Rashford, he did create 2 really good chances for Xerxes, but that was it. Like, he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't getting involved in the game at all. He looks like the same Rashford we saw last season. Like, and it's such a shame to say that so early on, but it's like nothing's changed. I thought Bruno was sloppy. Just wasn't really doing it for me. And we saw again, like when things aren't working, they revert to type. And it was the same with Bruno. He had that one opportunity late on in the match, picked up the ball at the edge of the box and just lashed at it and just skied it. And that's the same kind of stuff we used to see from Bruno all the time. There was some glimpses last season, towards the end of the season, that he had kind of cleaned it up and polished it, and he was going to be a little bit more composed. But again, this is what reverting to type means. It's hard to break those habits. And when there's key external stressors that are like this situation that we find ourselves in today, it's way easier for your mind to just go back to old habits. And that's exactly what we saw from a lot of these players today. Casemiro, Rashford, Bruno, even Garnacho, holding on to the ball for too long when he got it and losing possession. You need to move the ball quicker. One of the first things we did when we signed Cristiano Ronaldo as a teenager, because he was holding on to the ball too long, the coaches literally told his teammates, just tackle him until he learns how to pass the ball. Garnacho needs to pass the ball, and he needs to stop because it's costing. It cost us against Brighton. It cost us against Fulham. It cost us today. Danny says Rashford will get in the sack, criminal off the ball as well. Rashford has survived several managers. And again, he gets away with it because he has these good seasons, like Ten Hag's first season, and he gets his new contract. I don't think Rashford's going anywhere, unfortunately, because again, he's got a new contract. No one's going to pay that. Maybe PSG in the future. Danny says, in 5 minutes, I might have 4 or 5 touches in the box. Before that, I can't remember how many minutes. Yeah, we just weren't getting the ball into advanced areas because again, holding on to it too long, not passing it when we needed to. Ahmad is very, very good at getting the ball into dangerous areas. It's just that we're not finishing our chances. I thought Garnacho looked a little lost, a little rusty because this is his first start this season. And again, guilty of holding onto the ball. Xerxes, I thought, did well to get involved and get into the good positions. He just didn't finish those chances, and he needs to put away those kind of chances. Those were 3 very, very, very good opportunities to score, and it was just not good enough from him. Just on another day, he maybe puts those away. It's just, again, it's just like I was saying, everything was going wrong. Everybody had an off day, and you're not going to get a result when everybody's having an off day, and that goes for Xerxes as well with those chances. We thought we had a really good clinical finisher that first game against Fulham. He comes on and like one of his first touches, boom, goal. And I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he had 3 gilt-edged chances today, 3 golden opportunities, and he put all of them. One of them was either off target, the header was right at the keeper, and then the other one was at the keeper too. It's just, we can't afford to be so sloppy in so many areas of the pitch and then missing those clear chances as well. It's because we've seen over the years how missing those kind of chances has cost us, and it did it again today. I'm not going to be too harsh on him because it's like his first start in a United shirt, but at the same time, I'm just going to say it like it is. He's got to do better with those chances, because in this league, against these opponents, you're not going to get those kind of chances all the time, and you have to capitalize on them, and we've seen that we struggle with that. So someone mentioned team selection. What were your thoughts on the starting 11? So basically the same starting 11, except for De Ligt for Maguire, and then Garnacho for Ahmad, and then obviously Xerxes came in for Mount. So kind of pretty much what I'd said I'd like to see in my match preview, aside from Rashford starting. No Ugarte. I'm sure we'll see him in the next match. I mean, if we don't see Ugarte in the next match and Casemiro starts, like I literally can't defend Ten Hag anymore at that point. Like I try, but you can only defend the bad decisions for so long. There were 6 Erik Ten Hag signings in the starting lineup, 3 academy players, and then 2 that were there before he got there, in Fernandez and Dallo. So I think it's just, he's got his team now. Basically, he's going to have very few excuses, and he needs to do something. 2 losses, 1 win in your first 3 matches of the season. Again, I'm not trying to overreact. I'm not trying to freak out and call for the sack or say that we're at crisis center or whatever. It's 3 matches into the season. A lot of things can change. I get that. But this was not a good match. And it's not even the result. You can take a loss sometimes as long as it's a good performance, it's a close result. This was neither of those things. This was just flaccid. This was just sloppy, careless, switched off from the get-go. And you can't do that against Liverpool at Old Trafford and expect to last very long in your 3rd season at the helm. Danny says, Rasmus, Xerxes together play. Bruno 8 with Ugarte. Manu needs rest. Yeah. We need to rest players when they need it. Manu hasn't looked good. And like I said, is that partly because we're playing in a different way? Probably. Is it because he's been playing a lot of football, didn't really get as much rest in the summer? Probably as well. He's still young, too. We don't want to burn him out. Danny says, the most I was expecting was 4 points. Talking about the first couple matches. Yeah, I know you predicted, 3-1 in the match preview. I predicted 2-2, my dumbass. I just, for a second there, I was like, ooh, we're starting well. And then it got way worse way quickly. I don't know how we can struggle to string together 2 passes to make a third, but Liverpool can get from their box to ours with literally like 1 pass. It makes a world of difference when you complete your passes and you move the ball just a little quicker, and that's what Liverpool did. And it makes a world difference when you've got players who are getting into position. 10 of their shots were from inside the box. We've spoken about the other day about the statistic of, how many shots we concede. And I've said to look at where the shots are coming from. Well, today it didn't look good because 10 of their shots were from inside our box. They were getting into those areas way too easily. And when that happens, you're not going to get a result. They had nearly twice as many interceptions to us, and they had 28 clearances. So what that meant is they were winning the ball back because of some sloppy-ass passing on our part. But when we were getting chances and they were clearing the ball, it was always finding a Liverpool player. We were not winning second balls, and we've been guilty of that for years. And because they were getting clearances and they were getting those balls, And then because all they had to do was get like one pass to our open midfield, they were already in another opportunity. They hit us a lot on the counterattack, and it just cost us. They were too well drilled. They were just better, which wasn't hard to do today. We just didn't look anywhere near it. And so this is a lesson learned. Hopefully it was a wake-up call. So, I hate friendlies. I hate the international break. I don't even like preseason matches, but this international break could not get here soon enough. I'm telling you right now, I need a break already, and we're only 3 matches into the season. Fucking hell. I almost don't even want to spend money to travel and watch this shit. Who cares? I'll just cancel my Airbnb res right now because I'd rather not spend the money to go watch this shit. I'm bad luck anyway, because the last time I went, we lost both of our matches. So maybe I just need to steer clear of Old Trafford, but we'll see. What are you guys saying here in the chat? Aggregate 6-0 versus Liverpool. I mean, Raja says, I'm kind of angry. Nobody can stand Pool. If you're a proper United fan, you don't like Liverpool. I didn't catch a whole lot from Ten Hag's post-match yet because I was trying to put some stuff together to feed my dogs and whatnot, but I caught a few snippets from his post-match comments, and the one that stuck out to me is like, he said something like, oh, he looked at their XG and it wasn't that high, and I was like, bro, really? Why would those words even come out of your mouth after that kind of performance and that result at home against a guy that the media has been basically just comparing you guys to for the last several months? Like, that was not like, I get it. Ten Hag's got that kind of personality. He's very blunt. He doesn't really have the communication, like the people skills, the charisma. English is not his first language. I get it. He just says stuff, and it's very direct, and it's very just simple. I get that. But do we not have some sort of media team advising him, some sort of PR? Because I feel like after a loss, maybe he just shouldn't be allowed to go in front of the camera. Like, I'm out here defending him, and then he wants to sit here and talk about how Liverpool's XG was not that high. Like, you got to help me out, man. Help a brother out, Eric, because I'm running out of ways to defend your ass right now. But the only good thing relating to United today is that we did hit 1,100 subscribers today. So that's cool. Big up yourselves on that one. You guys are really getting into the channel, really helping it grow. I did say, and you can clip me up, when we get 2K, I will announce another winner. I'll give one of you guys a copy of FC 25, and I will grab one of you any jersey you want. You let me know, and I'll ship it to you as my thanks. So keep that in mind. Like I said, we do these giveaways every now and then. Loads of you have been checking out yesterday's video too, so go check that out if you haven't. I did link it in the description. But that is going to do it for me. Jump in the chat. Let me know what you got going on. I got to go mow the lawn this afternoon. With any luck, I'll trip and fall, and the lawnmower will run over the part of my brain that's responsible for short-term memory, and I'll forget the last 3 hours it ever happened. God willing. But don't forget to like the video if you haven't yet. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Again, check out the link to yesterday's video. I put it in the description. It is a long video, but I guarantee it's a better way to spend 2 hours than what we just watched earlier. So check that video out. Leave a comment. Be sure to stop by tomorrow for my 3 takeaways on the match. We'll see what happens, but I'll be back tomorrow. You guys enjoy the rest of the day. Try not to let this ruin your rest of your weekend. And I will be back on the next video. Thanks for stopping by, Nick, Rajat, Mustafa, Justin, Steven. Welcome to the channel, my friend. Everybody getting involved. Danny, of course. I will see you guys tomorrow. Later.